do you say, guys? Welcome to Elephant in the Room with Jay Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. Let's get into what's going on with Alabama football right now, including a real issue at the cornerback position as far as experience goes. We're going to talk about that and more. But before, I just want to tell you guys that I feel like I look good, and when I look good, I speak good, and when I speak good, I have a good show. This is my Roback shirt right here, and I've actually got the real code on there, room 20. I had book 20, but it's room 20. But I might buy a shirt while I'm on here because I feel bad about having the wrong graphic up there.
Yeah, they need to get us. They need to get us the room 50.
Yeah, room 20 is good. I mean, it's better than room 15 or 10.
No, it's worth every bit of it. It's worth every bit of it.
You're like the Roback super fan.
I am now. I love the. I got into those task performance shirts, and I like those a lot. But then when Roback sent us, those sweatshirts, the performance sweatshirts and the collared shirt, the one you're wearing, I'm wearing golf shirts all the time. So, that's one of the best shirts. It's the best fitting shirt just off the rack I've ever worn.
Really? Because normally for you, if you're getting new clothes, you have them tailored, right? So, like on a normal day for you, it's like I show up.
When I said off the rack, I was like, shit, he's going to say something to
me. I don't normally buy the off the rack stuff, but
everything I buy is off the rack. But
no, look, I'm not judging.
Yeah.
I'm not judging at all, man.
Trust me, I knew there was going to be a lot of judgment there when I said it.
To each his own.
I was judging myself when I said
it. You didn't mean to sound hoity-toity, but not to get too technical here, but somebody's out there going, I have all my clothes tailored. I want to say, like, I've had a couple of things tailored, like when I was doing a lot of TV, I did have a couple of I bought a suit, but then I would take it and they would they didn't build it from scratch, but they just fixed the ones that I had.
Oh yeah. Well, my mom had got a few things tailored for me when I was, high school, and then when I got to college, Alabama, they provided one suit to every player on the team so that you could wear it, on game day because you're required to wear that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I only had like one or two tailored items, and when I'd start wearing my stuff around my in-laws, I look like Carmelo Anthony on draft day.
You were pretty wild, did you?
Oh yeah. So my grandmother-in-law was like, "Go down here and get fitted, and I'll get you something." I was like, "All right, I'll do that." And so ever since then, I've kind of jumped onto that wagon. But for like a coat here and there.
Well, can we talk about TTown Tom now that NILs are out there, or
the suit guy?
The suit guy.
The suit man.
Remember back in the day, like Clay Travis, when he first started out, kicked the coverage, he had done like this story about all these suits that Alabama players had, and and then and it was all like basically that there was some shenanigans going on with TTown Tom, Tuscaloosa menswear. And then you go in there and it's like Julio Jones championship ring and like Mark Ingram's gloves. Nothing to see here, guys.
Yeah. If there's a guy that's really in with all the players back in the day before NIL, something shystie's going on.
Yeah. Well, don't you think that the NCAA would rather have, TTown Tom, spinning up a couple suits for guys so they look good, or what's going on right now where they're just about to not have an NCAA at all. It's going to fold, and we're going to have like a commissioner, and it's like an NFL thing now.
Oh yeah. They cut their nose off to spite their face. It just
great point.
Yeah, they overreached, and to say the least, we've covered the NCAA enough. It's just I'm with Pat McAfee on the NCAA. Just atrocious what they have done over the years.
Yeah.
Hey, Reggie Bush finally got his Heisman back.
Yeah, and that's a great topic because even though Reggie Bush gets on my nerves when he tries to act like Saban ran from NIL, Saban's an old man, okay? And Saban's the best that's ever done it. I'm going to say this to Reggie, and then I'm going to take up for him, okay? But I'm going to tell Reggie this right now. Saban's an old man. He is. He's 70-something years old. He's also the best that's ever done it. He's better than your coach, Reggie, and your coach was damn good, and Pete Carroll. But Nick was better, and he had a way of doing things. You know this, Jake. He did things the right way. It was never based on how much money you were going to make. It was never based on how many championships you were going to win. It was based on doing the job that you were supposed to do the best of your ability, worrying about doing your job the way that you need to do it to make the team better, giving 110% every time. Reggie, with the NIL, when Nick Saban says that parents are showing up and instead of worrying about how their kids are going to be treated, that they're worried about how much NIL money they're going to make. The point is that he's an old man. He doesn't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Period. And that's why he's on TV right now.
Well, he had, in college football, you have so many responsibilities as a head coach. And one of those is to take care of those kids like they're your own, to a certain degree. And again, when it becomes transactional like it did towards the end of his career, it was far less about, molding a boy, a young man, into a grown man that can make the right decisions, do the right things on and off the football field to, show up and pay them. And the biggest thing that we're worried about is his bank account by the time he leaves here.
Right.
It just, and even by saying, hey, how much money can we make? That's your biggest priority. I mean, that insinuates that, again, that is the most important thing to you. It's not about development, both physically and mentally, on and off the field.
Yeah.
So the priority has just changed. And again, I'm fully on board with NIL. It has to be for the guys that create value for Alabama or any other institution they represent, not just a handout.
Right. And I'm with you. Now, with that said, I have been holding the pennant for Reggie to have his Heisman before it was even taken, when people were worried about his Heisman being taken. They should have never taken his Heisman, and I'm glad that he has it back. He's still one of the best college football players that I've ever seen play. You talk about a guy that could do it as a running back, but also could do it as a receiver too. I was surprised that he wasn't better in the NFL because and I think that a lot of that has to do with the team that you end up getting drafted by. If he would have got in the right system, I think he could have been 10 times better in the NFL. But he is legitimately one of the best players, and it was an injustice that they took his Heisman. But stop talking about Nick Saban.
Well, he came in the wrong era. Yeah, that's right. Sorely not.
I'll be giving my guy shit.
That's right.
Now, I'm glad he got it back, though, man. You're right. Think about how much money he made and think about how much money he would have made,
Oh, my gosh. He would have been the poster child for NIL.
Yeah.
He'd have made more. He probably would have made more than Matt Leinart. Which is crazy to say for the USC quarterback who won 2 national championships. But Reggie Bush was, when you think USC football, I think of Reggie Bush.
Me too.
To me, that's the face of USC.
Mm-hmm.
And then Matt Leinart right below him.
Who's the greatest college football player, Jake, that wasn't an Alabama guy that you saw your lifetime?
Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton. And as much as I hate to prop up Auburn up, but again, he's about the only. I think they had how many first-round draft picks have they had since Cam Newton? And I think Nick Fairley was also a first-round guy too, wasn't he?
No, he was a beast.
Yeah, another Mobile boy.
Yeah, we couldn't stop him, man. Hate that name. Just reminds me of quarterbacks being sacked.
you heard a lot of it in that Iron Bowl.
It was. You pick those games, man. If you have one of those just amazing performances in the Iron Bowl, you talk about those guys forever. To me, I guess my answer, it's hard to argue with Cam Newton as the greatest football player, but Reggie Bush would be up there for me too, besides Alabama guys. But
Cam Newton, you got to think that team. I mean, they had Michael Dyer the year they won it all. They had Nick Fairley, they had Cam, and they had Michael Dyer. I know I'm missing a few. I know they had Philip Lunsson-Kirkin. He was a good player for them. But you look at the year after he left, I think they went 3-7.
Oh yeah.
And he was he was just unbelievable in terms of what he did for that team, how he changed the entire landscape of Auburn football for that team that year. He's the single most effective player I feel like I've ever seen in college football, where if he's on the field, you got 10 other guys, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody affect a football team like he did.
Right.
Because the defense, I felt like they were good, but it wasn't a defense that helped carry the team, and then offensively, he found the open guy, but with his feet, my gosh, he just dominated games.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I remember the Iron Bowl. He had a great Iron Bowl.
I'll never forget that play that they stripped Mark Ingram and that ball rolled a solid 25 yards on a straight line. How a football rolls 25 yards in a straight line through the end zone, it's impossible unless you're playing Auburn.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, it's Auburn Jesus, and we've talked about Auburn Jesus before.
Oh, yeah. And
it's
it followed. He obviously made an appearance in Tuscaloosa that day. Usually it's in Jordan Hare, but I will never forget watching that happen.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then Mark Barron's got a torn pec muscle, and they throw that ball, and any other day he's breaking that up or making that tackle. And I can't remember the guy that scored the receiver's name that scored that touchdown, but those two plays I remember. Mark's just dragging one arm, looked like Reuben Foster with his shoulder out of place.
Yeah,
torn pec muscle, and those two plays were those were tough.
Good thing we won most of them, though. It's like every time they beat us, it's always like some kind of epic performance and, acts of God. I guess I say that, and we did beat them this year on a 4th and goal from the 31 play.
Well, Coach Saban, he addressed that. Usually it's the other way around in this story.
Right. How crazy was that? It's still crazy. Milroe, finding that receiver in the end zone with the perfect pass. Anybody could have caught that. It was all about the throw. And our friend now, we're friends with Milroe. We hung out with him at the mullet toss.
That's right. Yeah, man, it's so awesome to meet Jalen and you get that feel that everything is real when he speaks on TV, when he makes all the right comments. You never know, and it's not like I know Jalen really well now. We had one conversation, but that vibe or that feel you get from somebody, and you can tell they're genuine. That's how I felt, and it feels good to pull for a guy like that.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Well, let's talk a little bit about the football team this weekend. A couple of visitors are going to be in town, and it's significant because they're both guys that are transfer portal guys that are currently coming here, and they're cornerbacks. And it feels like for Alabama that they're in a spot right now where they need some cornerbacks. They need some help at cornerback. And I kind of wanted to talk about that, like basically the shakeup that we've got going on right now with guys transferring out. Peyton Woodyard transferred out. So did Tony Mitchell. And Bama got Cameron Howard in, who transferred from Charlotte. Those are safeties, right? And then now we're looking at the cornerback spot and trying to figure out, who's going to be, if we might need two guys. We don't have anybody with experience. We got a lot of freshmen, but we don't have a lot of guys with experience.
Yeah, I thought the spring transfer portal would help us more than hurt us. And I still feel good. I feel like we're pretty strong up front, and we're going to need a lot of pressure on the quarterback this year to get us through the first few games of the season. A lot of youth guys are going to have to really, really grow up in the first 4 or 5 games of the year. But I feel like we got some experience up front, a lot of talent up front, and just going to have to take a lot of pressure off those guys on the back end. And offensively, as long as our receivers, gain a lot from those first few games as well, I think we'll be all right. But to me, the most key component of a team of a football team is a solid run game. That stabilizes the offense. It keeps the defense off the field. I think that's going to be one of our strongest forms of offense next year is going to be the run game with Jalen back there, or stable running backs. We got a really good offensive line. Long as we can keep the pressure off the back end, keep the pressure off the defense, which I think we will do, I think we'll be all right.
It's Isaiah Hamilton, who's a cornerback from Houston, and Deshaun Jones, who's a cornerback from Wake Forest. But, dude, when you look at the list of guys who left at that cornerback spot, I just, first off, I don't understand why so many cornerbacks left the program. But here's the situation at corner, right? I'm just going to run through it for you. Kool-Aid and Terrion Arnold, both in the NFL. Trey Amos, Earl Little Jr., Antonio Kite, Des Ricks, and Jameer Grimsley all transferred, right? You got Jalen Mbakwe, who I think is going to be eventually one of the best players on the team. Zay Mincy, who's another really good player. Zabian Brown. Those are all like 4 or 5 star prospects that are going to play. We're just not sure how soon, right? And the only 2 guys at the cornerback spot with experience are Hurley and Damani Jackson. So Jaleel Hurley, and he's a freshman. So he didn't play much. Yeah. And then Damani Jackson. So for Alabama, I feel like they really have to land these 2 guys.
Well, when you got to have somebody, those players know it too. I mean, they know there's an opportunity for playing time there at Alabama. This is kind of this doesn't happen very often, where you can just come in and be effective at Alabama year one. And so not only, look, I know Coach DeBoer and that coaching staff can recruit, but there's a transparent need for those guys to get here. So I feel like the likelihood of that happening has got to be pretty high.
Yeah. So we'll see. And when I look at the roster, I mean, I just see a gaping hole there right now. What are you going to do? I mean, can true freshmen go out there and help us in these games? I mean, how long do you think it's going to take those guys, even the best cornerbacks coming out of high school, if they're true freshmen? I mean, is this going to be a transition that these guys will just jump in, fish to water? Or, I mean, is it that much harder and different in college?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think some guys can come in and play right off the bat. I think some guys need a little time. One of the best corners I've ever seen is Marlon Humphrey, and he got redshirted his first year, So it's kind of hard to say. It's all, in my opinion, mental. I mean, guys it just depends on how quickly they pick it up. Now, the pressure is going to be dialed up a pretty good bit because the need is so heavy, and they got really no choice but to grow up pretty quickly. But again, it's, you meet certain guys and you talk to them and spend day in, day out with them. That's when you really know. I mean, one of the best examples of a guy that I knew come in and play quickly, and I didn't know him as a freshman, but I know who he is and the kind of guy he is, Ryan Kelly. I mean, the guy, one of the most disciplined people I've ever been around. And you meet somebody like that who shows up, does what they're supposed to do, hey man, you want to go do this after practice? Nah, I'm going to, this, and I'm going to bed. And I mean, if those are the kind of guys that we got on the recruiting list, then yeah, those guys can come up, show up and play early. But again, that's something you got to know them to be able to make that kind of prediction.
Yeah, no doubt. And also they got a great new coach in the secondaries, and someone that can teach these guys and get them up to speed. But you still got to be able to go out there and make good decisions. Making a good decision too is watching our show, and it's presented by MyBookie. Whether you bet to earn or to make games more exciting, MyBookie gives you the most for your money with their redesigned deposit bonus. Just use the promo code NEXTROUND to receive a cash bonus instantly to your MyBookie account. Using this bonus is simple. Bet your deposit amount just once, and you're ready to cash out. It's no strings attached with MyBookie. Bet on NBA, MLB, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly online blackjack tournaments. With so many brands to choose from, you just need a platform that makes it simple to bet and win, like MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. You got some money riding on any of these on the horse race this Saturday, the Kentucky Derby?
Man, we're in the worst part of the year right now in terms of sports. I mean, you just about have to bet on something to watch something. I don't watch. I used to be all about the NBA, but you go back and you watch, say, like The Last Dance or some old NBA games, and the physicality that they used to play with makes you you're like, man, I want to see some of that, some of those grudge matches today. I love, right now I'm watching the UFC. I'll get into the NBA when they get to the, later playoff games, and I watch, a college baseball game here and there. But no, I hadn't been watching too much. When turkey season's over, I'll get back into it.
You and all these, there's always a hunting season for you. And I know others like you. Like, you guys live in hunting camps and spend the weekends.
You guys live in hunting camps.
This around campfires and, out in the woods. I mean, come on, man. When you have great stuff going on like the Kentucky Derby. Have you ever been to Churchill Downs before?
No, that's a bucket list trip for my wife, though.
Oh, it's awesome. I'll go with you guys. Let's do it.
Yeah, she really, really wants to go.
She wants to wear the big hats and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing, man. I love the place.
She'll be wearing her big hat and her bright dress, and I'll be over there looking like Carmelo Anthony.
I thought you were going to say, and I'll be over there looking like I'm going on a turkey shoot.
Yeah. Hey, man, I won't count that out either.
Yeah, we should go. I've always wanted to go. I think this is like the 150th anniversary, but Churchill Downs is like the Wrigley Field of horse race venues to me. I mean, you go in there, it just has that old school feel, vibe to it. It has an ambiance. It's fun. The drinks are good. It's not that expensive. At least it wasn't when I went. Who knows if they're going to kind of like that same thing with the Masters. Like there's just something about these events and what they mean. And I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to give you Father Carl's insight on the race. I'm not really supposed to tell everybody this because I don't want him to be making everybody money, but I'll tell you, he said he's actually seriously looking at the Japanese horse in the Derby. That's Forever Young. So keep an eye on Forever Young, but Sierra Leone is one of his other choices.
What was it? It was Sierra Leone and what?
And Forever Young.
Actually, I probably will make a wager on that. My wife, she always picks a horse, and I remember last year she won it. She's got a few horses. She loves horses, and so she knows about them, and she loves them, and she loves watching the Kentucky Derby. So I forgot. I will be making a wager on that.
His other horses, and he says that fierceness is depending on whether he is interested that day or not. He said he's the temperamental sort. And so Father Carl loves horse racing, and he's always been involved in like going to the track and stuff. He just really enjoys it. So yeah, he'll send me his picks a lot. So we'll see if he pans out for us. So you got Forever Young, Sierra Leone, and then Fierceness. Write that down.
I'm writing these down.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it. Like sometimes he really kills it. But he loves it, man. He loves horses too. Like it's his thing. He's been friends with horse owner.
What was his dark horse?
His dark horse was Fierceness.
Fierceness.
But it's almost a different breed that watches this. I mean, we were. I saw
Father Carl's. He's conducting confessionals with these horse trainers, seeing which ones are shot up and which ones aren't.
They're pretty funny. He was on like horse racing TV for a while. Like he was friends with in like 2019 in that neighborhood. He was friends with some of the owners of horses, and they lived near him, and they would fly him on the jet out there. He was like their good luck charm. So, but he's been into it since I've known him, and since I was a kid. And back where I'm from, they have, horse racing used to be really big. Obviously one of the stakes is in Maryland at the Preakness.
Yeah.
But the Timonium has a track, and then obviously Kentucky, with Churchill Downs, and then Kingland is the other one, the one that's in Lexington. But you got to have somebody that knows about it. Right. Because when I went to Churchill Downs, I didn't go with Father Carl, but I went with another guy, and he knew all the races, and we won 7 straight races. But it wasn't like you get first place. We would do, horses the show and, in the place and stuff like that, man. And it was like, we started with, I think we all threw in $20, and I think all of us left with like $300. It was so much fun.
It'd be awesome to go with a guy that knew what he was doing.
Oh, dude, and like smoking cigars and drinking, mint juleps.
Oh yeah. Well, how awesome would it be to own your own horse that was going like that had won 2 legs of the Triple Crown?
No, I know, man. It would be cool. And it's its own world, and I mean, a lot of those people do get tailored suits, so you'd fit right in. And
that's right.
I think it is, but it is fun. Like I went, and it makes a fan out of you instantly, So if you get a chance to go to the track, but to go to the Kentucky Derby, now I haven't done that. I went to one of the races at Churchill Downs, didn't go to the Derby. I would love to go to the Derby.
Yeah, that's the one of all of them. That's the one I'll be honest, I'd be good with watching it on TV, but my wife wants to go so bad. I think it'd be a good time.
I think it's, I honestly, all the hard work with the girls that she does, and to give you that time to go out and turkey hunt and chase deer and stuff out in the woods. I think a good gift would be to take her and your broadcast partner and his wife. We could all go together. We'll go, or we'll just, it'd be big group of us. We'll get one of those boxes.
Oh yeah. Do a podcast from the box.
Hey, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So that's on Saturday. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the transfer portal. with with these guys, because I feel like Alabama's pretty desperate right now to add some players. And then people have asked me, they've gotten to my, the Twitter or online, and they ask me, they're like, hey, what is what's the scholarship number for Alabama? And I'm like, that's a good question. I mean, like, I know it's 85, and I know we're right around 85, but it's hard to tell right now because you know what I'm saying? There's always like extra guys floating around and stuff. It's, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You almost have to have like somebody on the inside to tell you what's going on, because some people, do they still do the gray shirt thing? And then it seems like there's always something going on.
I have the, it'd take too long to check it, but I got the roster right here, and heck, man, I don't know. And I don't know if this has walk-ons on it as well. I don't know. They got to do the gray shirt, though, I would think. Been some diamonds in the rough in the gray shirt world. Some guys that were on camp, or I guess showed up in the second semester, and then, I mean, it's almost kind of a, it's not the through and through scholarship. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a slap in the face, but I love seeing those gray shirt guys come in and just, kick out. Those are usually the guys that come in and play early, pay attention. They kind of have a chip on their shoulder, but I don't know if that's still a thing.
Well, I mean, now, so many of these guys could jump in the portal and stuff, Yeah,
well, back before all this portal and NIL stuff started, I mean, guys would happily be a gray shirt because they loved Alabama or Florida State, and they just wanted to get there, and that was their, that was their way in. But I don't know if you're going to see that anymore. There seems to be a lot less loyalty to programs after you grow up pulling for a team your whole life.
Are we dumb for loving Alabama like we do? I mean, are we missing something? Because, we both absolutely, we love Alabama, right? I mean,
oh, yeah. Let me tell you, man, it was one of the toughest things ever to pick Florida State over Alabama with that Alabama offer out there. And, man, I'm so glad it worked out the way it did. But, when I was at Florida State, and again, I loved Florida State so much, loved my teammates there. But there was always that in the back of my mind, I don't know. I still thought about Alabama, and when we'd be watching the national championship game within a Florida State crowd and Alabama was playing in it, I had to sit there and pretend I was neutral in the whole deal, like I wasn't hoping for Alabama to win. But man, I am so glad it worked out the way it did, and I got to go back and play for Alabama. I mean, I don't know. It means so much when you get to represent the team that you grew up pulling for and the state that you came from.
Yeah. Yeah, look, and for me, I mean, I transferred to Alabama, but fell in love with it as soon as I got there. But I get it, man. I can't imagine what it would have been like to be a kid and go to football games there. But, when I grew up, we were kind of an NFL place, And then, I mean, not being from there. Now, I've lived more of my life in Alabama than I have anywhere else by far. But yeah, I mean, there's something special about the state. First off, love the state, and then secondly, obviously, just when you get on campus, there's just something special about the capstone. It just is. I can't really always quantitate it. My nephew's got a scholarship to go there, pretty much a full ride. And I don't want to influence him, but I said, hey, if you want to know what I think, I'm going to influence you. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't talk about it and not try to convince you to go.
If you want to live a life full of regret, don't go to Alabama.
Yeah. I said, if you want to go to Maryland, that's where I started out. I said, if you want to go to Maryland, just get ready for a lot of New York and New Jersey. I didn't feel like a Maryland school, but
I had 2 teammates from New Jersey, and 2 was enough. They were actually both at my wedding.
And we weren't talking about those guys. Who was it? Vinny?
No, it was Josue Matias and Sean McGuire.
Oh yeah, okay, that's pretty funny.
Which Josue is from the Dominican Republic, so I don't know if he counts too much.
Yeah, right. It's kind of there, but that's just where his landing spot was.
Oh yeah. Great guys. Good representations of New Jersey.
Yeah. Now I used to live in Jersey for like right outside of New York a couple years when I was a kid, and it was actually fun. I mean, you have to go up there, and you get there, and then everybody just makes fun of you the whole time. I mean, like as a kid,
it's a ball busting community.
Oh man, I mean, like especially where I live.
At the same time, it's a little different because Sean just got, the worst thing about down here is when you don't respond to ball busting really well.
Right.
I mean, the target gets bigger and bigger.
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah.
And at first he used to take that stuff so personally. And it was like, I mean, everybody loved it and just piled on even more.
You know what I mean? Like down here, it's like you just have to wear it, and then you got to kind of put it back a little bit. Up there, it's like you just got to come out swinging. You know what I mean? Just drop haymakers. That's right. I got too good at it, and then I had to like kind of dial it back because it was just too many fights at the bus stop. Like I was
I've had to dial it back a few times.
Yeah, you can imagine. Like once I figured out that we can say whatever you just start picking on somebody for whatever reason, and the truer it is, the funnier it is.
That's like that story.
No, you give me a lot of that at the bus.
Yeah. So we were down at the mullet toss. I was giving it to somebody pretty bad, and I can't repeat what I said on this podcast. I gave it to. Finally, I had to go give the guy a hug. I was like, I know that was too far. The line's back there.
It was too good not to use it.
Yeah. In the moment, I was like, it took me about 5 seconds. Should I say this? Should I not? Nah, everybody's going to laugh too hard.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness, man, that is so funny. Well, we got the transfer portal is shut. We talked. I think we talked a little basketball last show, but Jaron Stevenson transferred, and I don't know if this isn't.
Well, hang on.
Sorry. He went to the NBA. He declared for the NBA. He didn't transfer.
But he still got his college eligibility if needed, right?
I think so, right? But is this – I was wondering because you got the Rutgers Center and you got the Kentucky Center, and I'm wondering now, maybe I'm out of school here, but I mean – on 3 told us that they're 98% sure that the big guy from Kentucky's transferring. What if we got both of them?
I mean, here's the thing, though. I don't know if those guys can shoot like Jaron Stevenson. I mean, he basically won us that North Carolina game with the threes that he was hitting. I think he was, 4 of 7? I would, to me, I know there's a ton of talent coming in, I mean, you're not going to have guys play 40 minutes a game next year. I mean, maybe Mark Sears if he comes back. But Alabama. It's like Bruce Pearl he mentioned it this on game day. I think this year he said, if you plan on playing 40 minutes, then don't come here. And I think that's going to have to be what players at Alabama are going to have to, digest. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, it's hard to play 40 minutes a game, and that's kind of indicative to the depth on your team. Hopefully Jaron Stevenson sticks around and plays a key role. I would think that he would have a role against smaller, more athletic teams, but you never know. I mean, college sports these days, you don't know what your team's going to look like till game one.
Oh yeah, especially in basketball.
Oh yeah. I thought basketball would be a lot easier to manage, but you're going to have new starting fives every year.
Yeah, it's so different now.
I mean, football, the volume of transfers is a lot higher, but basketball, the percentage of transfers on your team, I mean, we're looking at a whole new team next year.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I'm with you, man. And it's just be glad that we got Nate Oates. Nate, my guy Nate Oates. We're tight now that we hung out at the Mullet House.
It's the biggest sporting event he's ever been to.
I may retweet it. I may tweet that out again today and tag him.
You need to.
It'd be the second time, but it would be more like, hey, I know you miss me, so.
That interview was great, though.
He's such a cool dude.
He showed a humorous side to him that you don't see too much.
Yeah. Look at my hair. All right. Well, look, I think we've said it all on the show today, getting ready for the weekend and seeing what's going to happen in this portal. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with those DBs, and then we'll kind of update that position group, sometime early next week. We'll get together probably Monday or Tuesday, somewhere in there. But what do you got on tap this weekend?
Man, it's last weekend of turkey season, so, I'm giving them hell.
They're probably they're probably over. What do they call a group of turkeys? A gackle or something? What do they call that?
Actually a flock, I guess.
A flock.
I don't know.
They're in their flock and they're like,
hey guys, Coker's back.
I was like,
all right, let's let him waste this weekend here again.
Yeah, no goblin this weekend. No goblin this weekend.
Hey, send out the deer.
That's what they're doing. You'll see a lot of deer.
Yeah. Time to go to the neighbor's place.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, one more week, and Coker's back out here again. So let's get another 18 hours out of him.
Hey, we got the Miller Lite around here. We need to oversleep.
Well, we were supposed to do this yesterday, and part of the requirement of doing a show in person is drinking a beer. So I was waiting on you, and then you got so busy, I drank a beer anyway by myself, which is against my new diet is no beer drinking by yourself.
Yeah.
But I broke that yesterday because once you get the taste for an ice cold beer, I mean, you can't let yourself down.
No, you gotta. I tell you, man, those Blue Moons, they're going to be. You can't have a good solid weekend without a Blue Moon. And, man, let me tell you what, I've been loving those lately.
Yeah, they're good on tap.
Man, on tap over at your house, the on tap Blue Moon is hard to beat.
It's because that thing's so cold. The kegerator's so cold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? the times where I don't shut the door all the way, it's really easy to figure it out fast.
Yeah,
the behind the scenes stuff. But anyway, look, have a great weekend, and you guys do too as well. Get in the comment section, talk to us there. And again, look, I'm wearing my Roback gear right now, and you guys have an opportunity to cash in on our partnership with Roback. And I'm going to talk my bookie here in a second, but Room 20, that's our own code now. So when you guys use it, and I feel like I should just buy a shirt right now just to do it.
yeah.
I'm going to buy one with our code because I don't know how many of you guys are going to use it or not, but at least if I buy one, it's an excuse to make sure that our code works.
Yeah, well, it works. I can tell you that.
I'm not going to know for sure until I buy a new shirt.
Yeah.
I need the one with crabs and beer.
Yeah, that one. That's a Mick Gillispie special.
That looks so good on me. The other thing too is we talked about mybookie.ag, and I want to remind you guys too that whether you bet to earn or to make games more exciting, MyBookie gives you the most for your money with their redesigned deposit bonus. Just use the promo code next round to receive a cash bonus instantly to your MyBookie account. Using this bonus is simple. Bet your deposit amount just once, and you're ready to cash out. It's no strings attached with MyBookie. Bet on NBA, MLB, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly online blackjack tournaments. With so many brands to choose from, you need a platform that makes it simple to bet and win, like MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. All right, guys. Thank you. And thank you to MyBookie, and thank you to Roback for helping us keep the show going. And Jake, always fun hanging out with you. I honestly, dude, I wish we had the mullet toss this weekend because Ryan Anderson and I both feel like if we would have, just prepared a little more, we could have beaten you in that mullet toss. And if we would have had you best 2 out of 3.
Yep. Florida State thought they could beat Georgia this year too.
Well, what can I say to that? Hey, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. And on that note, I'm going to give you guys a roll tide.
Roll Tide.